Welcome to Fight News Now. I'm John Pollock. Over the next hour, you are going to get to hear an exclusive interview with Kendall Grove, who is headlining next Friday's Bellator 162 card from Memphis, Tennessee against Alexander Shlemenko. That's coming your way. Plus, I'll chat with Robin Black about a number of UFC fight announcements, including a dream fight for one Robin Black. It's all coming up on today's edition of Fight News Now. Here with Robin Black to chat about all the fight news that is going on. We are going to start with UFC 206 that is coming up December the 10th right here in our neck of the woods in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre. Big announcement in the featherweight division. Cub Swanson is going to be taking on Doo Ho Choi. When the fight was announced, John Ramdeen fainted. He's still recovering. Robin Black was just in a state of delirium, but you have come to since. It's reality.
I literally woke up to that. And I'm telling you the truth, my heart started to race for real. Do you know what this is? This right here?
That's the Robin Black book.
This is, mine has Bruce Lee on it, but if you're looking for like a life hack, like a happiness hack, this is called a gratefulness journal. Every day in the morning and at night, write down some things you're grateful for. You'll realize that you got a lot of good stuff in your life. It's a very good thing. I recommend it highly. This is mine today. This right here. That's all it says. Normally it's got stuff about my wife and great things about my job and all these great things. All it has is this. I'm a 5-year-old kid and these are my superheroes and they're in my comic book. I really can't believe this fight's happening. And it's so cool. These are two of the most interesting and exciting and smooth and physically expressive featherweights in the world. And it's a really cool way it's taken shape. Like, Doo Ho Choi is an odd character, and he literally, Cub Swanson's his favorite fighter, and so most of us would want to not fight one of our favorite fighters that we admire. This guy wants to fight him, and I can't wait to watch it.
For Doo Ho Choi, he's been on this incredible run. He's won all 3 of his UFC bouts thus far, but this is a big step up for him taking on Cub Swanson, who's one of the elite at 145 pounds. When you look at the guys that this guy has lost to in the last number of years, when it's Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway, your lone losses in your last 10, I mean, that tells you the level of Cub Swanson. And we're going to find out, is Doo Ho Choi ready for this level of Cub Swanson?
It tells you the level of what Doo Ho Choi sees himself as well, because he understands how good Cub Swanson is. He understands how spectacular he is. And it'll be interesting because I've been spending a lot of hours already, many times for a long time studying both of these guys. We had Doo Ho Choi as our #1 prospect 3 years ago, and Ramdeen and I have called many of his fights up as he was knocking everybody out coming up. And when it comes just skill for skill, Cub Swanson, I believe, is as good and potentially better than Doo Ho Choi, but he has a lot of other things. He has knowledge and he has understanding and his presence in the fight, his focus and his ability to concentrate, and all of those mental resources, he has those, and that's where Doo Ho Choi is going to be pressured. You know, it's not like you can just land that straight right hand automatically. Cub Swanson, to deal with that, and Doo Ho Choi's right hand is a laser, but to deal with it, you have to have the experience and the comfort in front of that hand. To be able to draw it out and slip outside, Cub Swanson's got a killer left hook. To be able to ask for it and wait for it and move outside of it, you have to have an incredible amount of confidence. And Cub Swanson has that. And he's the first guy that Doo Ho Choi has faced that has that. And that changes the speed and it changes the ease in which you can land that right hand. There's a million cool things about it. I'm going to break it down from as many angles as humanly possible over the next while. I guess they're going to just move DC and AJ to the co-main event?
I guess they'll have to, Robin, to accommodate your desires. We also have a fight announcement with Ricardo Lamas, who is going to headline this weekend's card in the Philippines against BJ Penn. Instead, that card, in fact, was scrapped. Ricardo Lamas will now be scheduled to fight November the 5th on the very next event against Charles Oliveira in Mexico City, no less, which has not been an easy task for many fighters. Having just completed a full camp, Robin, and preparing for a 5-round fight, I think that's going to be very interesting to see how he is able to adjust to the elevation and fighting a really tough guy in Charles Oliveira on 3 weeks' notice.
There's a lot of questions that we need answers to fully be able to break this down. But for sure, when Lamas was talking about it with them, and it was whatever it was, 7, 8 days out when they were, or maybe even 10 when they were going to cancel that show, the conversation would have been, I want to fight as soon as possible. So the shift in his training would go from peaking here to just easing back enough and peak a week later or 2 weeks later. And so they could strategize that and maintain all of the gains, all the fitness gains, all of the preparation gains that he had made. And maybe a great coach can even use it. He could be even in better shape potentially. And where was Oliveira in that line of thinking? Was Oliveira getting ready for this card, or is Oliveira stepping up on short notice against a guy who's been fully trained and refocused for a new date? Because the Mexico element will favor the guy who's in better shape, and I'll tell you, Ricardo Lamas believes that's him.
We also have the announcement that Paige Vanzant will headline the Fox card in December in Sacramento against Michelle Waterson. So for this Fox card, Robin, you are going to have the Paige and Sage show, as well as Mickey Gall, who received a lot of promotion both before and after the CM Punk fight. That this is going to be interesting to see from a network perspective what kind of audience these three fighters can garner.
It's really cool to see that at least what we're seeing from this, it tells you that Fox is looking for the long play. You know, how good will these young fighters do now? And more importantly, we believe these will be big name, big audience fighters in the future, and we can help that now. So it's cool to see Fox playing the long play with that. We were talking about it, for a while there we were unsure. Like we're talking about a great singer or a woman who's a great actress. We're allowed to say that she's really hot. We say, oh, that's allowed? Okay, cool. We can do the same with athletes. So we can address how incredibly skilled these two fighters are, but we can also address that they're hot. And that really helps for television. It's not something you have to avoid when you're talking about singers, and it's not something you need to avoid when you're talking about top-level mixed martial artists. Two killer athletes, super attractive. Paige is from the area. When she was on that dancing show, she would have got crazy amounts of local press, so it'll really help the show. It's going to be a cool one, but my piece out of the whole thing is seeing Fox think about the future and play for the future is really cool to see.
Two fighters that are very hot, but a different definition of the word, are Jose Aldo and Julianna Pena.
One of them is the same definition.
With Aldo, we've talked about his anger about not getting the Conor McGregor fight, McGregor not being stripped, and now Julianna Pena very much upset that she wanted two fights, either Amanda Nunes or Ronda Rousey. She's not getting either of them, and those two are going to be fighting on December the 30th. Does Pena have a reason to be upset here, or is this kind of not understanding your own leverage in this situation? I think everyone agrees this was the fight to make for Ronda Rousey coming back, and I don't think many outside of Julianna Pena fault the UFC for giving Ronda a title fight.
Yeah, I mean, she howls at the moon, that one, and I think that's what we like about her, right, is that she's just a little out there. But yeah, I mean, she's got to look at it and take her own emotion out of the element and go, Ronda Rousey will sell 1.5 million pay-per-views or 1.3 million, and I'll sell 300,000 or 400,000, and if I was the owners of this scenario putting that together, I'd go with her. She has to understand that. Speaking of emotion, Jose Aldo is still super emotional, and to me that's a good sign. If he was saying, I don't care, it doesn't matter, I'm over this, whatever, you would worry. But his emotion means he really cares still. And I've become even more of a fan of his after seeing how he fought Frankie Edgar. To me, he has never looked better, so I hope he fights.
Kendall Grove coming up later in the hour, and you can catch Fight News Now Monday through Friday, 6 Eastern, here on Fight Network.